stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Well, all right. That was wonderful. I love that intro. It sucks. I got to change it. I should have changed it already for the new logo. I just couldn't. I just got it made like 6 months earlier. You know, I had to use it a little while. But that all said, here we are. I'm happy to be back. Welcome to the Thursday Thick of It. I'm GreenBean, and that orange-wearing fella, that Reese's Senior Bowl-looking dude, is the one and only Dom C. Dom, how you doing tonight, my good friend?
Not too bad, Bean. A lot of news. Jets are in the news yet again.
Yay!
This time, not so negative. You know, I guess depending on which beat writer or article you click on. But everything's good, man. I'm well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I'm happy you're well. We've been fighting sick over here for, you guys know I had the norovirus like 3 weeks ago. My daughter had the flu bad all week. I'm kind of catching it. I got the pain, the hurting cough, when it hurts to cough.
Yeah.
But I've been kind of staying, I'm fighting it, Dom. I'm drinking ginger. I'm drinking elderberry tea and all kinds of stuff. But all things considered, I am also happy to see some Jets news. Obviously, with the coaching hire, that was big news, but I think it gets diluted when you know who's going to be hired for a while. It's like the Aaron Rodgers news for me when we traded for him. By the time it actually happened, I was already, I want to say, it was nice to see it officially happen because a lot of us were excited for that, the idea of bringing him in. But it was like when it happened, I was already it was diluted, it was like, all right, good, But today's news, I should say, I don't think anyone saw coming. Nobody saw coming. The Jets hired, really, in my opinion, a second GM. We got two GMs for the price of one. We hired Rick Spielman of Minnesota Vikings fame. You guys might remember the video clip that was out there from the Vikings draft, where the Eagles passed on. They thought they were losing Justin Jefferson. The Eagles are definitely going wide receiver. Jefferson's clearly the best receiver on the board, and the Eagles took Jalen Reagor. And they got so excited, and Spielman was laughing at the Eagles, essentially. He couldn't believe it. He was tickled pink, and clearly the move worked out, at least as far as the players' impact. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl again, so they have an argument too. But anyway, Reagor, the Vikings ended up having Jalen Reagor 3 years later. They ended up signing him as a free agent when the Eagles cut him, which is interesting. But some other things happened. I'm not sure if you've if you've picked it up, but the Jets have fired two administrative guys, like execs as well. Nejma, if I'm saying that right, who's been with the Jets. Guys, we talk about this like the common denominator, the consistent variable to Jets suctitude, right? We talk about Woody all the time. He gets the brunt of it. And we go, well, he's the only thing that stayed the same. Not true. I was talking about it last night with Tigo, Dom. What about Boyer? Brant Boyer's been here forever. It seems like he's just, and I'm happy to see him go. Well, like, God bless him, whatever. Sure, you were fine. But it's like, get out. You've been a part of nothing but sucking. You know what I mean? Just get out of our house. And this guy, Nejma, has been with the Jets. Dom, are you ready for this? Are you aware of how long he's been here?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
16 years.
It's no guess. Dom's lying. 16 years in the personnel department. So he's been a part of how long? What is 16 years? What year does that make it? That makes it 2009, 2008?
1925. Yeah. 2008, 2009.
So he's been here so he came in, check this out. He came in let's say 2008. He got here when Revis was here, right? Mangold, Ferguson, Harrison, all those guys were Harris. They were all here. He got here, and the Jets had the famous 2011 offseason where they got rid of fucking everybody It's a terrible, terrible offseason. We lost Bray. You lost Sean Ellis, Brad Smith. It goes Kochery. It goes on and on. And then we had the Idzik hiring, and that Idzik 12 years. Then we had McCagnon. Then we, you know what I mean? We go into this, and it's like, he's been here for all of that. Why? Why would that guy have kept the job? I remember there was we have the show One Jets Drive, and they do like the interview. They're driving around Morristown, or you know what I mean? They're doing, and they did a whole thing with him. And I remember thinking, I don't like this guy. I don't know what it was. He said something. I remember I talked about it back then, but it was like he said something. I was like, I mean, not the biggest deal. But a guy like that being, dude, long enough. Goodbye. And Muji hired the general manager's son from the Broncos general manager's son to replace him. And they've been working together since 2017. So that seems to me symmetrical. Like, that's nice. That makes sense. And the other guy we got rid of, I forgot his name. Let me see here. David Sosi, the director of football administration. What does that guy do, Dom? Do you know? Director of football administration.
My guess is that he's the one who makes sure all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted in terms of meetings and who's got to be where and all typical admin stuff. Make sure that contract is signed and it's filed with the league office and blah blah blah.
Right, and it says he was one of the main contract negotiators. There it is. So that too. So, okay, so we got rid of those guys. Better contracts, better pizza, Papa John's, right? That's what I'm thinking. But Spielman, Patton, they come aboard. Nejma and Sosi are gone. Overall, win, good, positive, negative. Where are you with this?
Definitely a win, I think, for a couple of reasons. And I'll full disclosure, I can't tell you, all that much about Patton, other than he's, the nephew or son of the George Patton, the Denver GM, and that he has a working relationship with the Mooster. So I can't tell you much about him. And Spielman has a track record. Spielman had, I think there was 4 or 5 draft picks that he made that became all pros. So he's got some experience there. I know he's not going to have final say or anything like that, but I love the idea of having the buffer between Woody and Aaron Glenn and Muji, because I don't know who's really going to be calling the shots. If Aaron Glenn, they're both reporting to the owner, but does Aaron Glenn have a little bit more say? Does Muji work for Aaron Glenn? I mean, not an ideal, kind of, organizational structure, if you ask me, but I digress. It's happened before. Pete Carroll was one guy that I know that had that same structure where he kind of was the shot caller and the decision maker.
There's an argument to say he earned it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
He might have been one of those guys you could say, you know what? I think he might have earned that one, Yeah.
But if nothing more, I like having the idea of, if you're going to bring in a rookie GM again with a rookie head coach and some rookie coordinators, you have somebody there to bounce ideas off. You have a sounding board. This is what you want to think. Maybe not. This is a good idea. This is a bad idea. If nothing more, you have that, and you have that buffer between Woody, right? Woody can continue to do Woody things. He doesn't have to get involved in the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Completely.
No, I was just saying, everyone was pining for that president of football ops, and although he doesn't have that title yet, in essence, I think that's what he's going to be doing. And the second part of it is, like you talked about, it's more of just draining the swamp, cleaning all that dirty laundry and balling it up and hook shotting it into the Rockaway River over there.
That's right. Dom and I love the right. Dom, did I ever tell you that it's in my will that when I die, I want to be cremated and I want my ashes sprinkled in the Rockaway River?
Come on, for
I
real?
swear. Yeah, it's in my will. I want to be sprinkled in the Rockaway River right by where, Lake Hiawatha is,
Yeah.
where the lake is. That's what I want. I spent my entire
Sports
childhood.
Island, like right over there.
Right,
Sports Island?
right. That's exactly right. Sports Island, right in that area. That's where I want to be. That's where I would do it if I could go back there and just stay there. The rest, that's my happy place. Like when I do happy place exercises, I go there.
I love
That's
it.
something. So yeah, so I'm with you. No, look, there's one more guy. There's only you got the scouts, which they'll make their scouting changes after the draft, right? Right now,
they're contracted.
scouts,
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about that, and they just want to make sure everyone's aware. Scouts are contracted May to May, right? And really, the scouts that we've had have been doing work on this draft class probably starting 2 years ago. So it would be
foolhardy.
It would foolhardy is the way to put it. It would be organizational disaster if you tried to
Cutting
fire
off your nose to spite your face.
Correct,
right.
Because that's intellectual property that they take with them, so on and so forth.
Right.
So yeah, so you're gonna have the scouts. The scouts have gathered all the intel. It's now how the new front office wants to process it and which way they go with it. The scouts are there to, gather, do the due diligence, do all the background checks. Talk to this guy's, middle school math teacher and this guy's high school coach, and try to, dig up any dirt like they can on them, and they pitch for guys. They surely pitch for guys. And then, how Muji and the new front office wants to move with it is how they move with it. Now, there's no doubt that I'm sure Muji's going to bring in some new scouts, and those new scouts might operate on a different methodology that, he wants them to run. But the work for this class, the meat and potatoes of the work for this class is all done already.
Yeah, and that's why, we'll see any changes that come in that department will come after, but you can bringing in your top guys now, I think is smart. You start to, bring in as many of your trusted folks as you can to, get through the organization of all this information that they've collected over the past 2 years. I think is smart. Now I see Connor and Swamp Ranger have super chats. I'm going to get right to you guys. Thanks, Mr. Business. That's what I've been trying to do. Hydrating and sleep, but nobody lets me sleep. I'll tell you, this morning, I even told my work buddies, I said, hey, give me like a couple of hours and I'll jump in. I'm going to take some Dayquil. I'm going to sleep for a little while. And the phone, bzz, 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 and I can't turn it off because if an emergency happens, and I finally said, fuck it, I ain't sleeping. And
you need some zinc too. Hydrate and lots of zinc, man.
I'm doing ginger, elderberry, and some other things, spirulina and some other things. So oscillocossinum. You guys know about oscillocossinum?
Yeah, you can tell GreenBean married a hippie. That's for sure.
She's like, here's your elderberry tea. That's what. But I want to get into, before the super chats, I want to remind everybody about the amazing offer that BetUS is still offering all of you just for hanging out here with us on GreenBean. All you got to do when you go to BetUS, you got to use the promo code YouTube150. And when you do that, you are going to gain a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000, everybody. Not only that, they will also give you a 125% bonus on your next two deposits just by using the promo code YouTube150. It's America's favorite sports book, and for good reason. We're heading into the Super Bowl, everybody. Everybody knows what's going to happen. The Eagles are going to try. They're going to play hard. They're going to win. But the NFL won't let them. So that's my 2 cents. That is not financial advice, but that's just how I see it. The NFL isn't passing up this opportunity to get Taylor Swift a three-peat. There's no way. It's just too big. It's too big. You can't fight Capitol Hill. But BetUS is the place to make it all happen, guys. Take advantage of that great offer just by using the promo code YouTube150. And I thank BetUS for hanging out with us all year long on the Thursday Thick of It. So let's get into Swamp. Well, Swamp Ranger, I'm going to jump you real quick because I saw Connor and he's talking about this hat is that a Connor hat?
It is a Connor hat.
Yeah. How do I get a Connor hat? I got to buy it, I bet.
New York Jets flight team hat.
I love it. I love it. Dom had a great segment 1 week ago tonight, actually. Dom was on Connor's show. I listened to 95. I jumped in maybe, I don't know, a few minutes late, whatever, but I listened to Dom on there. Connor's fantastic, as you guys all know. Writes for JetX, has his own channel, is all over the news. Look, he's a real deal. So what does he say here? Appreciate you as always. GreenBean, Dom, keep up the great work. Cut Tay and save $36 million. Sign Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, and draft Tet. Well, there's a revamping. That's a way to rework it. Connor, what do you think of that? You want to keep Davante Adams? You want to see him go?
Well, I mean, I really think that it's, it's a package deal, right? I think if Roger stays, the likelihood that Davante comes back on a rework deal. And listen, that contract that he has, right now, even if he stays with the Jets, it's not going to be at $38 million, right? The Jets, in the terms of the contract, they have the right to convert that to signing bonus and lower his cap hit. So there is, when you look at, Sport Track or Over the Cap, and you see the Jets are only at like 20-something million dollars, know that you have a big buffer. I expect the Jets to be in the $50 to $60 million range when it's all said and done. And the majority of that comes from just converting Tay Adams' contract to a signing bonus and lowering that cap hit for this year.
Yeah, I think I'm right there too. And I agree with you. It's a package deal, no matter how you slice it. I
mean, I guess there's a
chance.
There's a chance that Rodgers can come back and Adams goes anywhere, I think it was, I don't know if it was Schefter or one of those bigwig guys, put something out that said that, Davante that the new brass, Muji and Glenn have not been in contact with Davante Adams yet. And also that he has a penchant to be back on the West Coast where he lived, grew up. He wants to be out there. So they actually discussed a possible, if he is released, a possible, Raiders reintroduction for Tay Adams.
Well, when Aaron Rodgers goes there, because if we don't have Aaron Rodgers, I am convinced Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, that connection, bringing in Aaron Rodgers and Davante, I think it's just too good. They'll pack that roster real quick, and they'll take a run at it. Tom Brady, by the way, the last guy to be over 40 and win a Super Bowl, I think he sees through the muck, and he knows. That's what I see. That's my conspiracy theory for the day. I'm putting a poll up there for you guys. How do you feel about our front office? And let's get to Swamp Thing real quick. Swamp Ranger. Thanks, buddy. Great hire today. Clean house of all the losers. Water boys and social media nerds should be next. Social media. No, they do a good job. Fire anyone on the staff with a losing record. There you go. Well, everybody on the staff has a losing record, buddy. But yeah, I'm with you. Also, did you hear Aaron Glenn is going to be making a switch with the strength and conditioning coach? And that's very important because who's going to hold Robert Saleh back when they score, when they get an interception?
Is that the get back guy?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I
believe so.
Well, Aaron Glenn is a quarter of the size of what Robert Saleh was. He's a little fella. So
I am a firm believer. If you need a get back coach, especially when you're stoic for 96% of the game, if you need a get back coach, you're pretending. Let me say it that way. There's no one that gets so excited that you cannot obey the rules. You know what I mean? You could jump up and down. You got so much space to jump up. You can run all around. You can fucking kick holes in Gatorade jugs. You can do anything you want. You got to step over the line. You know what I mean? It just doesn't, I think it's silliness. And it only happens when it's good. And then he pushes them away anyway. It's just so dumb. The whole thing is so stupid to me, Dom. But I'm with you. There's only one guy remaining now. One guy. You know who it is? There's one common denominator type fella who's been here the whole time. That damn security guard. That little paisan.
And the equipment guy.
Well, I'm sure there are those guys. I'm talking about the guy that's like he's right next to the coach. Every game he's running alongside. It's that little paisan, Dom, the guy who wouldn't let me take my selfie with Aaron Rodgers. Even though I was shaking his hand and I had my phone in my hand. I had to go click. Aaron Rodgers said yes. I said, you mind if I take a quick shot? He goes, sure. And he goes, no. What is that, Dom? Why do you do that to me?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's all, I mean, well, I guess he hasn't been here too long, but Van Jefferson did survive, right? Or not Van Jefferson.
Yes, Sean
Jefferson. Yes.
Van Jefferson's daddy-o.
Yes, correct.
Ablab checking in. What's up, man? It's been a minute. Good to see you. Thank you for the purple nurple, we'll call this one, Ablab. I appreciate it. Gang, loving these hires. The latest brings cohesion to the head coach GM tandem and is the buffer between those two and Woodrow. Good to see you guys, and GreenBean get well soon. I know, man, right? Thank you so much. I'm feeling okay right now. Like I just, again, I'm on that like up and down kind of thing. But again, elderberries and ginger, Ablab. That's what I'm doing. But I think he's saying a lot of what we're saying too. So I think, Ablab is in agreement. I think this was a really great surprise today. And what's funny about it is if you guys don't know, you probably do. If you're watching this show, most of you are pretty in the know. You're pretty caught up. But he was a part of the 33rd team interviewing everybody. So it kind of makes you like there's a couple problems. There's a potential problem and there's a positive, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the good news first from my vantage, and I'll get your thoughts on this. The good news is he got so excited by all of this. This is such a great group of guys I'm able to bring in. This is the team that would get me back into the game. I'd like to be a part of this, that kind of a thing. The other thing is, it's all nepotism. It's like he picked all his friends. It's like when Casserly was our consultant. Mike McCagden and him are very good friends, and he just hired his friend. You know what I mean? So that's the scary part, Don. Which side of that you think you lean on?
Nepotism or that type of thing, I don't know. The thing that doesn't rub me, the thing that rubs me a little weird about it, not gonna lie, is, was there a little ulterior motive or a little angle being played? Like, hey, we're gonna do this 33rd team, blah blah blah. By the way, I'm just doing everything to rub elbows at the right guys and help myself out here. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
was the whole thing. You can question, even though I would argue against it. You can question, was the whole 33rd team really influencing or helping the Jets pick this stuff? Just a sham to get Spielman back in the front office realm. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, like, look, I think Muji, while he was not on my radar at all, right? I wasn't even looking that way. He popped in late too. Remember, we were like down to, I already forget who the hell it was. It was like, shit. Oh my God. I've completely erased it from my memory. I can't even, but there was
GM?
like was it the Commanders guy?
Yes,
right?
It was the Commanders guy. It was the Cincinnati guy, and Muji, and everyone talked about the other names. The guy from the assistant GM in Buffalo, the assistant GM in Green Bay, the guy Greenberg from Tampa Bay. They all talked about those, and those three never made the second round of interviews.
Yeah,
Philadelphia,
amazing.
that real nerd from Philadelphia.
That's right. Yeah, that guy. He looked like he was 15 years old.
Yeah.
He's actually almost 40. I think he's 38, 39 years old, but he looks really young. But he's like analytics, like he's from that. He's very strong. Like that's his area. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I don't want a guy who's like pure, like Idzig. He was purely contract. I don't want a contract GM. And, you can argue you don't want like a caveman GM. You know what I mean? You want somebody that's some sort of hybrid. Really, all you want is a guy that is a good delegator and can make tough decisions like that and has some balls, but is smart, but really surrounds himself with exceptional individuals in each department. That's what you want. You want to have a great contract guy. You want to have great scouting, and then you want to have a great director of pro personnel, which in my opinion, we have not had.
Correct.
Our free agency, even so, like with Mike McCagnon, the way he did it was he threw money at everybody.
Joe Douglas was awful.
Awful
On the pro personnel side with all his free agent signings.
Yeah, he did well. Conklin's okay.
DJ Reed was
DJ Reed just a slam dunk, right?
But everyone else was just awful.
Yeah.
You think about it, you're even the sense of even the stupid things, like you saw that graph, maybe you saw it today, GreenBean or not. There's Twitter that showed like, the 5 defensive linemen who creates the most pressure, the most effect on a game, blah, blah, blah. And like, it was a Super Bowl thing because Chris Jones was first, Quinnen Williams was second, and 5th on that list was John Franklin Myers.
Yeah, but did you see it's defensive tackles, which, by the way, what have Jets fans been screaming about for 4 years with John Franklin Myers?
I wish he played defensive tackle more often.
Stop putting him on the end. And the Saleh old brick connection said, no, that's where we want him. And he goes to Denver, plays defensive tackle, 5th in the league.
Yeah. Well, different kind of scheme, in fairness. I mean, they run an odd man front, so he's kind of in that 4-eye 5, so he's either shade in the tackle or over the outside the tackle. So it's a D end, but with more tackle, more 2-gap responsibilities. I digress. But you saw that, and then you looked at it and didn't, like somebody responded to that tweet and said, like, JFM, look at that. And all that money that we spent to bring in Javon Kinlaw, to replace him, forget about the fact that these guys thought that, the combination of Reddick and Clemens could produce as much as JFM did. That was a mistake. Obviously, you didn't have Reddick the whole season, but that didn't matter. But just the money that you spent on getting you didn't want to pay that money, so you get rid of him to spend that money on Javon Kinlaw, and it lost us a 4th round comp pick for Bryce Huff. We would have had an extra 4th rounder this year.
Yeah, look at that
money. That money washed it away.
That's a bummer. See, It's like you got to think again. Hopefully, your GM can think about all that stuff. And I think Rick Spielman being here affords us maybe a little bit more of the belief that can happen. Like, again, look, you can be as good at whatever position you were at. If you're in a new position, there's a learning curve, right? Especially at a position with actual decision-making power. Making the final decision is not easy. There's an inherent stress that nobody else in the room deals with. And it's an interesting thing. Like when you're the next guy, when you're the assistant, when you're the right under the guy who makes the decisions and everybody else, it's real easy to nitpick and say what I would do, she should have did this. It's different when you're the guy. When you say it, it happens. You know what I mean? It's a different thing. So having Spielman in the room for things like that, like to factor in comp picks, is the guy I'm about to sign. Is that worth? Do I need him enough that it can alleviate my potential to get a comp pick? Now, comp picks, you don't want to, throw all to the balls to the wall for it. It's not all for comp picks, but it should be factored into your strategy. Getting an extra 2 draft picks a year, if not more, can do wonders for your team. And look, there were years where the Patriots had numerous additional thirds, like 2 thirds, 2 fourths. No, dude, every year they would lose people because it didn't matter because Tom Brady was still going to Tom Brady. So they would lose their guys and they would get comp picks every year. Imagine that. You go into the draft, you got 7 picks, and all of a sudden they give you, here's 2 extra thirds, a 4th, and a 5th. Yeah. That fucking dude.
Now San Francisco does it. San Francisco has, I think, 12 or 13 picks in this draft.
You know why? Because they have minority coaches and executives that are getting hired. I mean, they got 2 thirds for Robert Saleh, but they do a good job with that, man. I mean, they have their pipeline in the minority side of things is exceptional. So they whenever they lose those guys, they go up to either a head coach or a GM. Works wonders. They get those picks. So yeah, it's like it's really benefited them. And then so if you look, if you get 2/3 for Robert Saleh, they give you one each year. Then you lose a couple people, so you get a third of a fifth. You just got 2/3 and a fifth for nothing. You know what I mean? For free. So that shit is valuable. And then they stick them at the end of the round, so you could be capping the third round with 2/3.
And now they give you, last year or 2 years ago, they opened up the possibility. They used to be yours. You couldn't do anything with them. They were untouchable. Now you can use them. Now you can trade them. So, 2026.
That's right.
2026, you need a quarterback. Well, guess what? Now you got an extra third, an extra fourth to kind of sweeten the pot.
That's right. I'll throw those in. That's found money, Dom.
Found money, exactly.
Found money, baby. Thanks, Ablab. Sam Aiken checking in. Muji got the job because fans hated Newmark. Yeah, maybe. Woody, look, we know Woody. Woody definitely pays attention to what's being said out there by the fans. I think that's been said enough that I think there's at least some truth to that. And if he's picking up, look, Jets fans are not stupid. I mean, we're stupid in the sense that no matter what happens, we buy new shit every single year and buy new tickets. And, they raise the price and whatever. We're stupid in that sense, right? We all got our new Jets shit every year. They're like, we're going to add a dot to the jersey, and we're like, I got to have the new one like that. So we're silly on that side, but we are not an uneducated fan base. We're not always right or whatever, but we know what the hell we're talking about. We're not just yelling stupid shit from the rafters. We know. We're looking, we're researching. We have, in my opinion, one of the most researched fan bases in the whole league. So it's not stupid to have somebody paying attention to us. What we're saying, if 90% of us out here are saying that's a bad hire, then it's a bad hire most of the time. That's what I would say. So I'm with you there, Sam. Blitz Crew, my buddy, checking in. Heard a rumor that the Falcons could move on from Pitts. He worth a day 3 pick for the Jets. If Graham slides to us, would anyone trade up for him? All right, 2 questions. Mm-hmm. First one, we'll talk about Pitts. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Is that a guy you'd like to see brought on? I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is here, he doesn't really utilize the tight end enough for me to do it. But you never know with another quarterback. I mean, I loved Kyle Pitts coming out, even though I did love Freiermuth more. Yeah, I did. That was very, very well documented, my infatuation with Pat Freiermuth. But I did love Kyle Pitts. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Tom? You trading a mid-round for him?
Well, here's the thing. He's not going to cost more than a day 3 pick. That's the reality. He had a fine rookie year where he eclipsed 1,000 yards, and he has been, pretty bad since. The problem is that the club has picked up his 5th-year option, which is in 2025. So it's just a shade under $11 million. So you would have to trade for him and extend him, because you're not going to bring in a 1-year rental at that cost, especially when, as it looks like right now, as constituted, we're a little bit tight in the budget. So, listen, would I take a shot on a Kyle Pitts at 25 years old? That's for a day 3 pick. Absolutely. But, I don't know how much, are you committing almost $11 million to a guy in a walk year, or is it somebody that you're comfortable with bringing in and extending, based on what? Because the production has just been, pretty awful over the past couple years. So, I can see why the Falcons want to get rid of him. They kind of ran that, they ran that gamut, and it's the well has run dry on it. And just like Mekhi Becton with us, I think, probably is time for a change for the kid. I would take a shot on it, but there's cap ramifications that I don't know if we're in position to swallow right now. Watch the Washington Redskins if they do move on from him. They are flush with cap space. Zach Ertz got to be 36.
I tell you, man, he was said to be washed like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like his primary target in a lot of games. Like, it's unbelievable. I mean, he's still got it. I remember the Jets we were floating around with that idea, years ago. And there would be a large consensus was like, he's washed, like he ain't fucking washed. That's one of those guys, just stays around. But Father Time comes for us all. So what do you think about that? You think so Mason Graham slides to us.
Mhm.
Any potential somebody wants him so bad that they're willing to throw a pick?
Probably not.
No two firsts?
No, probably not. Listen, the as much as we all want to trade back, the reality is that there's probably not going to be that option, at least as we stand here in the beginning of February. Like I find it really hard to see teams trade up and spend capital, especially 2026 capital for the most part, which is a much better draft class as it stands right now than this one. The only way they're going to spend that is if they're going up to get, franchise quarterbacks or take a shot on a franchise quarterback. I don't know if there's even going to be a quarterback available for anyone to be interested to get up. The best thing that Jets fans could do is hope and pray to God that the media, keeps pushing the Jackson Darts and the Jalen Milrose of the world. So people get excited and maybe a team will bite and want to come up to take them early because the buzz is so hot on them. But outside of that, listen, Mason Graham, I don't think anyone's going to trade up for Mason Graham, especially due to the depth of this defensive line class.
Right.
The edge rushers are deep as well. And there's no true left tackle that's worthy of a pick. So you take those positions. Those are the primary, real important positions. No one's going to trade up for, a guard. No one's going to trade up for an edge that's good when you can just sit fine and get another edge that might be just as good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
It's just not a position either. Like you said, this is an interesting draft. It's just like last year, that top 10 was packed full of blue chips.
Yeah.
And even, we did it the other day. I think there were 8 offensive tackles taken in the first round last year.
Correct. And so the best tackle, and everyone's board this year is different because, there's no lockstep in how the tackle class is going to shimmy and shake out. The best guys in the class, like, I think Will Campbell might be the best lineman, but I for sure don't think he's going to stay at tackle. Yeah.
Right.
So the best pure tackle, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, the kid from Oregon, he would have been tackle 8 off the board. Those 8 that tackle 9 off the board. Those 8 that went last year would have all graded out before my tackle one this year. Again, that's just my board, but I don't. There's just no one to trade up for.
Yeah. So it's a tough one. I mean, somebody was floating last week. Maybe the Bears want Genty enough. Maybe they, jump up a spot, or 2 spots. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't see. I mean, he's the type of player I could see some team getting excited for. But running backs. I don't know. I just. Don't know.
Dallas. I think Dallas and Chicago are probably your two. Dallas at 12 and Chicago at 10 are probably your 2 most likely teams that are going to covet Genty. The Raiders have a big need, but they have so many holes. I can't see them spending 6 overall on a running back. I could be mistaken, but I just don't see that happening. So yeah, could Chicago want to move up with us just to make sure that they get their guy if he's still on the board at 7? Maybe, but that drop back from 7 to 10 is not going to net us what we think it should net us. Right. The value of that 7 pick in this draft is a lot less than picks in previous years of the same magnitude. So maybe you get a 3rd, maybe you get a 4th this year, or a 3rd this year and a 4th next year or something like that. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I tend to. That's the thing. It's like, and it depends on who's on the board too. If you even want to trade back, like, so Graham's there. I think if Tet's there, I think maybe some teams will have some interest. But you got to really think long and hard. I mean, that's the one guy that I really want in this draft. I mean, that's the one guy. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of guys I like. And again, Dom's been doing this for months and months. I'm just now peeling back the onion and digging in. But I would love to come away with Tet McMillan. But the truth is I don't think he's making it past New England. I think it makes too much sense. Young quarterback. I think that's
I
where
don't
he
know.
goes.
I wouldn't. Listen. I get it. I'm not sure. I think that there's a possibility that he might be on the board. I mean, I keep my fingers crossed because I'm with you, especially if you're getting rid of Devontae Adams. If he doesn't come back, I mean, there's probably no positional group on the Jets, and right now the depth is horrid. But there's no positional group on the Jets right now that would be worse than the wide receiver group. So it becomes priority. So if that happens and Tet McMillan's on the board, I think to me that's the perfect blend of value and need. I mean, you always talk about that, GreenBean, that it's not just best player available. It's best player, some point you have to do best player available kind of where it meshes with a position of need.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Wait, hold on. I will call you then. So yeah, that's the whole thing. So it's I don't know. I mean, I would love to, and then it becomes a thing where, like Dom was saying, there's not really a tackle that's worthy of a top 10 pick. So you don't want to, I would love to complete the offensive line. Just, a nice young offensive line that theoretically can play together for a bunch of years. The other 4/5 played together most of last year with Fashanu coming in at the midway point. That's great. But you don't just do it for the sake of doing it. He's got to be worthy of a top 10 pick, man. So if the wide receiver's gone, the tackle's not worth it, the defensive tackle doesn't really fit, what you're trying to do. And there's an opportunity to get the best player in the draft at another position of need. And that's where like tight end and safety come in. Both are going to be, I mean, look, unless we re-sign some of these guys right now, Ruckert's the only tight end coming back. So we need a tight end. So again, does Tyler Warren move the needle for me to make him a top 10 pick? And you guys know tight end's my favorite position in the whole game of football, but I don't know. Do I want to take a top 10 safety? Probably not. But if it's a definite need, we don't have any safeties, man.
Yeah, let me show you something. Can I share my screen with something, GreenBean?
It depends if it's playing, if it's actual, like something that's going to get
No, it's not. It's our lads from our lads.
Or I don't think you still have the power, do you? I think I gave it to Tigo.
No, I got it.
Can you share? I can share it now. Let me see. It's blank. Oh, there it is. There we go. So, hold on. Let me get Blitz Crew. Thanks, buddy. I'm going to get this off. And then Tampa Pete, you're up next.
So this is something I mess around on our lads and Sport Track a lot and so on and so forth. And I'm sure everyone in the chat has too. But when you look at this, and if you can remove Blitz Crew.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know where the hell it went. There it goes.
There we go. Everything here in green and black, like the two black names here, Surratt and Adams, they're restricted free agents. So they will be, we can tender them contracts, at different levels to keep them, and they can choose to play. They can choose to play with them. If we tender them, that they're going to have no choice. Everything else in green is unrestricted free agents. You want to talk about lack of depth? Look at this board.
Yeah,
everything is green. It doesn't take into account the other guys that are on here. The what's it called? The reserves, those reserve contracts. But of these 53, I mean, you said there's no safety depth. There's not, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Isaiah Oliver also played safety for us. 5, all unrestricted free agents. We don't have a safety on the roster. Cornerbacks, we got a couple. We got Sauce, right? We got Sauce. We got Bernard Converse, and you also got Stiggy. So maybe one of those guys can develop. Michael Carter, he's locked in. The linebacker room is going to be the linebacker's going to be gutted. I don't know if Zaire Barnes or Marcelino McCray-Ball are going to even be stylistic fits for our new defense. And then you talk about the offensive line. You talk about the interior of the defense. Like, there's a lot of holes. You talk about the tight end room. You mentioned it. We got a lot of holes here, guys.
Yeah. So, and that's where, like, so if you have the opportunity, like maybe it's not what we would call a premium position, but you, at that point, you can grab probably your top linebacker, your top tight end, or your top safety, all going to be positions of need, unless they re-sign Sherwood, which I think it's going to be hard. We have both Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbricht out there, holding defensive coordinator positions. The Falcons need linebackers. Saleh would love to have them over there. So I think, and then, look, not for nothing, we're changing the defense. Sherwood doesn't know, you know what I mean? It's like, it's the unknown. This place, clearly we struggle to win here. Going to San Francisco might be very, very attractive for a guy like him. And then playing with the guy who developed him,
You said it best, is that Atlanta is in desperate need of linebackers. And if they don't, they got Fred Warner over there in San Francisco, but they don't have Dre Greenlaw is unrestricted. So you can bring him in. I think those are going to be the two big players for Sherwood. If I had to guess, Sherwood's not going to be on this team.
Yeah.
You hate to see it because you hate to see it. He had developed he had a great season. He developed, and that's what happens with 5th round picks. You hope that you can get a 5th round pick to develop into a really good player like we did. And now with the regime change, it's just a situation where it's just not going to, it's probably not in the cards that he's going to be back.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So that's where you bring that logic in. I mean, there are some nice linebackers that I like. Campbell up top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's you could grab Campbell. You can grab Malachi Starks. You can grab Tyler. So you can get the best player on your board at another position. Again, maybe not the premium position that you'd want with a top 10 pick, but dude, we got holes. And I would love to look. I'm really excited about the idea of seeing maybe some focus on good, free Roman safety play, baby. We haven't had much of that around here of late. Yeah. And it's one of the positions that I like. I'm fucking old school, dude. Like my favorite positions on the whole team, it's like tight end, middle linebacker,
and fullback,
safety, and fullback. Yeah. So I love seeing smash mouthy kind of stuff, but I also love a safety that seemingly is everywhere. I love those guys. Like an Ed Reed, but like Kyle Hamilton, who I loved coming out, and they move him to linebacker. He's great there. They put him back at safety. He's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, he played the slot. You put him at slot at nickel cornerback. He shut it down there.
He's exceptional, and that's why I loved him so much. But anyway, it's like, so I would love to Malachi Starks. He's got that combination. But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about Tampa Pete here. Sorry for skipping you before, buddy. My apologies. I did see you, and I thought they were before you, whatever. So here we are. He says, GreenBean, I think Get Back Coach is the perfect role to get your foot in the door as our next G. There you go. I was thinking about this all wrong, Pete. I'm calling you Tampa Pete. It's Tampa Jetsfan. I'm sorry. There's a Tampa Pete. My bad. I'm dropping the ball with you tonight. I'm sincerely sorry, my friend. That's a good idea, though. I didn't even think about that. Go ahead. Call me Pete. I said my middle name, so it's okay. That's crazy. I keep calling you Tampa Pete. That's nuts. What's wrong with me, Tampa Jets fan? But at least your middle name's Pete. There you go. So not so bad, Dom. What do you think about that? You think I should be the Get Back Coach? You think Saleh would slap me away? I mean, I don't want to be slapped.
Yeah. Saleh's not there. Aaron Glenn's not going to slap you. You tower over Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, he's a little fella.
He sure is.
What is he? What is Aaron Glenn?
5'9".
5'9".
Yeah.
Think about it. Imagine there's a cornerback coming out today who's 5'9". Is he on the top of your? Is he your pick 14?
He's typecasted as a slot corner, right? But that's and those who don't remember, I'm sure there's a lot of old heads like us, GreenBean, in the chat who remember Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn was a physical son of a bitch. He was a really, really good cornerback, man.
Yeah, man. Best cornerback we ever had until Revis. And I'm a big James Hasty guy. Remember James Hasty? He was another one. He was another one. He was very, very physical. Big, strong guy. But it's close, but I think Aaron Glenn was he was exceptional. but Revis has it. And we were having that discussion a couple weeks ago. Who's better? I don't think there's really a discussion, but Aaron Glenn was something else.
I mean, I know he's not really a Jet full and through, but I think you can make an argument that after Revis, you want to say it's really tight between Aaron Glenn and Hasty and even Crow. I know Crow was only here for a few years, but
Crow, who's that?
Antonio Cromartie.
Oh, Crow, Marty, right? Yeah.
I think that
it's good. No, it's good. Yeah, he was great too, man. He was fucking good. And man, he would play wide receiver for you. I mean, he did kick returns.
He should have. He could have been that cornerback that transferred his career and extended his career if he moved to free safety.
Yep,
for a little while, but you got 17 kids, you chase money. That's what I ended up doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. But Aaron Glenn was fantastic. Thanks, Tampa Pete. Sam Aiken checking back in. Which day 3 pick do you think can contribute right away for the Jets? All right, Dom, you're picking day 3. We got the 4th, 5th. We got 1 4th, 2 5ths, and 2 6ths. No 7th this year.
Well, I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard to pick a name. Let's call it what it is. I mean, we don't know who's going to go day 3 at this point. Guys that are, down the board a little bit that I happen to really like. I mean, I think that this tight end group is really good. I think you'll find a guy on day 3 that can contribute. It maybe not flash like the, like Brock Bowers-esque kind of season, but can contribute. There's always offensive linemen. This is a really, really deep, considering that there's so many collegiate tackles that are going to move to the inside. There's going to be some really good interior linemen that come off the board on day 3 that I think can contribute. And then the safety class as well. We're going to have safeties. We're going to have a need in safeties. I'll give you a name. I'll throw a name out there. A guy that I've warmed up to a lot recently, especially not, at Senior Bowl, safeties don't get a chance to stand out. So,
yeah.
But you watch the way guys move. And there's a kid out of Virginia. His name's Jonas Anker. He looks the part. He's big. He's about 6'1.5", about 210 pounds. Versatile. You talked about. I mean, I'm not comparing to Kyle Hamilton, but he can man up. He can man up on a big slot. He can play single high. He can play in the post. He can fit the run as a strong safety. But just the way he moves as a guy that I think, I don't think he'll be more than a day 3, round 4, round 5 pick. But there we go. Look at that.
Yeah, Jeremy actually texted me from the Senior Bowl. He's like, dude, Jonas Sanker's your guy. Yeah. And he's, you know how I am every year. I zero in on some Virginia guys. Yeah. So that's I like it. And we need safeties. I had no problem taking 2, just not first and second round.
Yeah, you're gonna have to backfill it at some point, whether it's a blend of free agency and the draft. And listen, you look at San Francisco. Okay, I'm gonna use them as the model right now. The one position the position they've drafted the most over the past 5 years is safety. They brought in, what's the guy's name? Talufa. I can never say his last name. For one,
wait, for what position?
Safety. How do you say his name? Somebody help me here. Halafonga, whatever he say, however he say his name. He was a late round draft pick. They then spent consecutive draft picks in consecutive years. A mid-round pick, or Talona Hufanga, yeah. And then they spent a mid-round pick, a late third-round pick on Jair Brown, guy that we all love, that at Penn State. And they followed it up with Malik Mustafa. Yeah. Well, guess what? Hufanga, who was great for him, is now unrestricted. And they got 2 young guys who now have experience, 1 2 years experience, one year experience, who are going to step in and run. They don't spend high. Hufanga was a 5th round pick. They spent the 4th round pick on Malik Mustafa and a 3rd round pick on Jair Brown. So they're identifying a position that they don't have to spend high capital on, but they're going to spend a lot of capital on it.
But they're right. It's consistent capital.
To build that pipeline and have guys that are ready to go.
See, that sounds smart to me, everybody. That's like, it's management. You know, you have to look at it's not like we get all excited for the big swing, which is great, you know, and you got to have the balls to do that and stuff. And it's important too, but it's the management, it's the building of the team, it's where your resource allocation, you know, and look, the Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas regime, they just didn't prioritize, they didn't value safety in the same way that, you know, other teams do. Now, we did very well with the cornerbacks, but imagine having like Sauce and Reed with a legit safety behind them when you can do one high. You know what I mean? Like, imagine having somebody that can actually make a difference. What did we lack? Turnovers. We got very few interceptions. So if Eccles wasn't on the field, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or it was like Eccles or Ashton Davis. If they weren't on the field for a few minutes, we didn't get a single. We never got picks.
I think that was my biggest pet peeve of this regime. You know, prior to it, and you know, it was like, oh God, we got to get an edge. We got to get somebody who could sack the quarterback. You know, blah blah blah. You know, and then we started to do that. You know, they brought in Lawson. I know it didn't really work out, but you know, like that didn't seem to be as big of an issue. But man. I don't know the numbers statistically, but I got to guess that we were in the bottom 3 in the league through the whole Robert Saleh regime and turning the ball over.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh,
I mean, what we have 4 interceptions last year or 5 interceptions. I think 2 or 3 by Eccles, 1 by Ashton Davis, and 1 by Sauce. One
at the end,
by Sauce at the end. So we just never turned the ball over.
Yeah, safeties help with that, everybody.
Yeah.
Remember, we had it looked like Whitehead was going to have a great. He got 3 interceptions, 1 game, and he ended the year with 3 interceptions. Yeah, great.
That's also like that, but that's also scheme wise, though. Like, you know, I'm ready, and I hope, and I think Glenn and Wilkes will do it. But I'm ready for a little bit more aggressive style of defense, not this bend and don't break. Like, don't let up the chunk play within the 20s, and then once they're inside the red zone, we're gonna hunker down and really hold them.
Right.
Like, no, give me a little pizzazz, man. You know, I'm tired of the blandness.
I agree with you, man. All right, so let's move. Hennessy checking in says we just need some luck on our side for once. Oh man, if we're hoping for luck, Hennessy, I tell you what, we just need the bad luck to stop. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take that. Just get me to even on the luck spectrum. If we could just get back to even Steven, I'd be pretty good. But who knows, man? You know, look, I think like as I try to bring in the positive, which I always do, I'm built in a way in my life where when bad shit happens, I work very hard to find the positives. That's just who I am. Right, because I'm a grumbler, man. I wake up cynical every day. Motherfucker. I tell you, that's my default setting. I'm a grumbly bastard from the word go. So I have to put work into it to actually figure out how to be positive. So when I do that to the Jets as well, because it's just, dude, I'll kill myself with this fucking team. If I actually pay attention and only live in the negativity that is this team, I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm not going to make it. So I have to find positives. Now, the whole Aaron Glenn, like coming back here, right? Like he was drafted here, had a great career here, 8 years. He came back to the NFL. He started here as a scout for 2 years, worked himself through the coaching ranks again, and was a viable candidate for a head coach. And he comes back here. And in his intro press conference, he says that the 1990, we talked about this the other last week, but the 98 game, AFC Championship game against the Broncos, he says it right in the intro presser. I want that one back. So that energy is very different. It's very unique to what we haven't done it this way before, right? Like it's rookie head coach, rookie GM. Yes, the formula is still intact, but there is a different variable. And that's that this guy started 2 other facets of his career right here and is still holding on to resentments, you know, missed opportunities for us from this franchise, our history, and bringing that energy back in here. I feel like it can shake things up because it's unique. It's different than what we've done and seen around here before. So that's my hope, Hennessy. That's what I've dug up. Aaron Glenn specifically, that juice, maybe, just maybe, we can shake it all up and see some good luck. Maybe end the bad luck and maybe a drip or drop or two of good luck. That'd be nice because I'm with you, buddy. Blitz Crew checking in. What can we get out of Saleh for Chaz Surratt, Dom? Maybe Saleh, that's his guy. Maybe he doesn't want Sherwood. Maybe he wants Surratt to get a real chance over in San Fran. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, listen, Boyer's there too. So Surratt was a big special team guy. So yeah, listen, we don't have to bring back Surratt. I mean, he is restricted. We can choose not to tender him, and he could then decline his tender at any point and make him unrestricted. So listen,
yeah, I like Surratt. I like him as a depth piece. I mean, it's tough. Like once you get into the really essentially, I guess he's second string. He's, but he's like special teams. Like, it's hard. You're not going to have all-stars there, right? And having guys that are around a long time and just solid, like they play very good special teams. They come in relief and they play hard, and because he's a pretty good tackler. Like he's a pretty good linebacker. He's never going to light your world on fire, but he's pretty solid. I wouldn't mind seeing Chaz Surratt come back. But hey, man, if they want to throw you a sixth or something, hey, all right.
I don't even think you're going to get that.
Why not? Give me a sixth, Tom. JJ Hamza giving away a GreenBean membership. Thank you, buddy. I'm trying to see who got it. Where is it? Where's the gift? Let me find it here. Let me see who got it. This thing's tough. It's loading. Oh, there it is. So Hennessy got the gift. Well deserving. Not bad. So thank you to JJ Hamza. And congrats to Hennessy for your Streambeaner membership, buddy. So, Dom.
Yes, sir.
It's 9:06
already.
And we've talked a little bit about our new GM number 2. We've talked about the guys that the Jets are jettisoning, which I think is it couldn't have happened too soon for me. A guy who's been here 16 years, it's time to go. You know what I mean? Freshen it up, spray the Febreze the office. You know what I mean? Like just get it freshened up in here. So we got the big thing coming up. Obviously, we have the combine, but that's just a precursor to the big dance, which is the NFL draft. Now, Dom, if you guys didn't know this, Dom C runs Project Prospect with Dom C and is quite literally our resident expert on prospects, right? On the draft, all things draft. Dom puts more time in it than anybody. So I'd love to, if you're okay with this, Dom. I know you've been waiting. He's been asking me since October, but this will start it right now. Would you mind terribly if we switch gears and talk a little draft?
Would I mind? Okay. I'm leaving this freaking show. What is this? Yeah.
So there's an interesting little, I don't want to, maybe a story that came out that Woody Johnson is in love with Shedeur Sanders. Now, again, this is smokescreen season, guys. So we got to remember, don't let your panties bunch up too much. They can bunch a little. You can have feelings and opinions, but don't go to pieces over stories because it's smokescreen season, right? Yeah. But the idea in and of itself. So they're saying that Sanders might slip further than originally, than people may have thought, at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And he's on the board when the Jets pick. Now, I don't want to see him love him enough to trade up and grab him. But if he's there, we don't bring Aaron Rodgers back. We got our plan is Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis. Sanders is on the board. Is that a guy that you're selecting with the Jets 7th overall pick?
If I'm being honest, I think that would be an ideal situation for us. And it's twofold reason for it. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's get that, out of the gate right away. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it did, it gives you the options of, having one of those teams who would be interested in a quarterback, possibly moving up, to come get him. So everyone talks about why I want to trade down. Well, people trade up for quarterbacks, so maybe that's an option. However, the second part of that is all the teams that really are in desperate need of quarterbacks pick before us, right? Tennessee, the Giants. You can make an argument for Cleveland, although I don't think they'll take one at 2. The Raiders all need quarterbacks. They all pick before us. There's not many teams outside of maybe the Saints at 9 who are in desperate need of a quarterback. You can say the Rams might be in interest in one. They're picked way down in the 20s. Pittsburgh, who's picking in 21, maybe. So the first thought is that if he's on the board, like, you have some trade down options if that's the way that you want to go. If you can't get the deal that you want, whether you like him or not, I think you have to kind of take the shot, especially if Aaron Rodgers is not back, or maybe even if Aaron Rodgers is back, because you can kind of sit and let him groom. Sanders is a polarizing prospect. A lot of guys, you hear it. He stinks. He doesn't stink. And this is just my opinion. There's absolutely, he doesn't stink. I actually have him graded by hundredths of a point as the top rated quarterback in this class. Now, doesn't really say much because I don't think highly of this class. I think that he's got a very, very high floor. I think he's a talented quarterback in terms of the way he understands the game, the way he processes, the way he gets through progressions. He can read stuff pre-snap, post-snap. He doesn't have quite the arm strength of some of these other guys. I've likened him to a little bit more athletic Chad Pennington, in terms of the way he plays the position. Here's the thing, and this is the thing with Pennington too. I just wonder if a guy like Shedeur Sanders, being a high floor, kind of lower ceiling quarterback, is more of a, final piece to an already good team, more so than he is a core piece to build around. I wonder how much Shedeur Sanders is going to be able to elevate the offense, And if he's not an elevator, he's a game manager, right? And are you spending a number 7 overall pick, when your team is, we just saw it, looks like Swiss cheese in terms of starters and depth on a guy that isn't really a franchise guy. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think, what bothers me is that, like, the Jets, we got the Aaron Rodgers thing right now, right? And there's the whole, McAfee every week, and there's the Rossini hates his guts. You know what I mean? Like, there's all this stuff. And then he goes and he just says things, and they're always clips, and he eats his boogers, all kinds of fun stuff that Aaron Rodgers does. And it just draws attention to the team. Now, if you're winning, nobody cares. Right? Tigo and I talked about that last night. It's like winning truly does cure all ills. Doesn't matter what's going wrong. If you win the games, if you end up, you're 8-2, nobody cares about anything. But when you're losing, the stuff gets magnified, right? And every little story that comes out ends up becoming this huge deal. And so you go from Aaron Rodgers and you bring on essentially Deion Sanders, right? He's a very, very big mouth, very opinionated. And if things aren't going swimmingly, what we're going to be dealing with, right? Like, it's going to be a shitstorm, Dom. I mean, it's going to be not the same as Aaron Rodgers, but it's going to be similar type of scenario where everything is magnified. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I was talking about the player on the field, not all of the other noise that comes along with it. And listen, we let's call it spade a spade. I highly doubt Deion would want, I could see him being very vocal about his son not coming to play for the Jets.
Yeah, why would it dude, look what we've done with our quarterbacks over the years. Whatever the reasons, just look at the collective results. We have destroyed young men here.
Yeah.
You with me?
I'm with you. Sorry.
What you doing? You tweeting?
Yeah, I was just responding to something that I had gotten. I apologize.
Yeah, Dom's very active on the twits, on the X platform. So yeah, I mean, so anyway, I would love to be. I think somebody, if that player makes it back, I think at 7, somebody would be interested in trading up for sure. That's what I think.
Yes.
Who and how far you got to go? I saw a story. It had us trading back with the Eagles at pick 31. They already predicted the Super Bowl. Trading all the way back to 31. We got next year's first, a second in this draft, and a third next year. So
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I am all for it. Because listen,
this is the year to do something like that, right?
From 10, yeah, maybe like, and some people say that'll be too far, but realistically, the prospects between like 15 and 20 and 45 and 50, they're all going to be kind of in the same bucket, right? Relatively a tier or two between one another. Like that's where the meat and potatoes is. That's where the true value is. So sign me up for that all day long. Yeah,
I would do it too, man. I got to say, most years I won't. Not that far. That's far, unless it's like 2 jumps. Like you get that free, and then you get another haul. But I don't like it most years. This draft, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, I will say this. I do subscribe to the theory that keep taking swings on quarterback until you find yours. So on that theory alone, like if you're sitting there with Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders staring you in the face, and they decided to go there, like I wouldn't be all that upset. Although like I said about Shedeur, I just question how much he's going to be able to elevate the people around him.
Yeah, and I think, maybe not even elevate though, but we just need like consistent, right? You need consistent, and you got to be able to just, I'm not even anti-game manager, man. I'm really not like, a good one. Not like, average, but somebody that can effectively and efficiently run an offense, that's valuable.
I think Chad Pennington was the prototypical game manager quarterback, right? He was taken in at the end of the first round. You're not taking him at 7.
Right. Yeah. So Paris said the rumor he heard was that Jets would trade up. See, that's the silly one. There's no way in hell I would do that. And especially because you're going to have to deal with Dion is not going to want him to come here. So it's that whole, it's a mess. Like, but Woody, dude, the more press, the better. Yeah. The more press, the better. We're in New York. We're not afraid of anybody. We don't get dictated to, that kind of a thing. Yeah. So I don't know. Let's see. Tony says he swears JD got hoodwinked on taking Zach Wilson. Dude, I said it the whole time, Tony. I know you're making fun of me in the chat tonight, but let me just tell you, I went out on a limb that year and I got crucified for that. I was out on a skewer. Everybody hated me. I would get DMs, paragraphs on Instagram, Twitter, on YouTube, explaining to me all the things I was overlooking with Zach Wilson. This is the one opportunity we have to get Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes squished into one young man. And it was crazy. All the stuff I was getting told. It was every day. And if I made a video, even a constructive, just looking at another quarterback, I got called a hater. Anything you can do to fucking put Zach Wilson down and blah, blah, blah. I think, look, it was the consensus pick. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Joe Douglas reached or went out on he was the guy. The Niners, in my opinion, traded up with the hopes of getting him, that he would land there. They didn't want Trey Lance.
Yeah.
They took him.
And if the rumors are true, and who knows, but they offered us a similar package to move up to 2.
That was the exact package I wanted. It's a dream package, dude. 3 firsts and a third to go back, 9 spots.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Yeah, we could have landed Micah Parsons or something like that. Who needed him? Who needed him?
You could have
that draft was ridiculous. Like if you look through that 2022 draft, man, or 21, that whole first round was I think it's good. We're going to look back at last year's draft very similarly. There are a bunch of hits, more hits than misses. And of course, who are the misses? The quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Minus Trevor. I don't think I'm not on team Trevor is a bust. I think Trevor's just fine. He's,
he's not the generational immediately that they were saying, but You mean Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. Trevor.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel the same way. So look at this draft real quick, guys. Get the fuck out of here. Everything expands. I hate it. So Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and you got Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Penei Sewell, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, Devontae Smith, who's fine, Justin Fields, Micah. So we would have traded. This is right where they traded to. Then they traded up.
They traded. No, it was Philly.
Wait, let me see here.
It was was it 6?
So look, San Francisco traded back with the Miami Dolphins, who were at the Miami Dolphins were at 3. So they traded back with San Francisco. Miami gave them a first round selection, which was 3rd overall, and San Fran gave them first round. They gave them the 12th overall pick. That's what I was fishing for. The 22 first and thirds, a 2023 first round. So 3 firsts and a 3rd. Okay. For that first. So they went back to 12. Then they traded back up to 6 with the Texans.
Yes, that's right.
And they used the first to do it.
Yeah.
So really, I made fun of them.
But look at the rest of it. I mean, all right. So you would have ended up at 12, right?
Yeah.
All right. So who was there? Oh, Micah Parsons.
Rashawn
Slater. He worked out pretty well, right? All right. Yep. Vera Tucker. They had their eyes on Vera Tucker. Then you get rid of Mac Jones. Zaven Collins really didn't work out. Alex Leatherwood was a bust. Jalen Phillips, damn good player. Jamin Davis, current Jet. Kadarius Toney, Kwity Paye, been functional. Caleb Farley was a miss. Darisaw, fucking stud.
Yep.
Najee Harris. I mean, the list goes on and on, man.
Yep. Bateman. Yeah, look. Yeah, right. It goes on and on. Oh, there's Elijah Moore. But anyway, yeah, it's one of those fun stuff. I'll take this opportunity to remind you guys about the offer that is being presented to you by BetUS. Again, just to remind you, the promo code, everybody, is YouTube150. And the offer is a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000, guys. And it also gets you a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. It's America's favorite sports book, and it's easy to see why. They got everything on there from NFL to Major League Baseball, hockey, basketball, all the way down to swimming, politics, and darts, everybody. You can do everything on BetUS, and I thank BetUS for hanging out with us. Get in on that offer.
We just talked about that 21 first-round pick. You saw Patrick Surtain there. Patrick Surtain was just named Defensive Player of the Year. How about that?
Interesting. Who's Offensive Player of the Year?
I don't know if they announced it yet. I think he was the Rookie of the Year. I don't know if they.
Yeah, he's got to be. He's got to be.
Yeah. I'm
Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm assuming the Offensive Player of the Year is probably going to be Saquon, and then the MVP will be a quarterback. That's my guess.
I don't know. Saquon might be able to get, and a running back hasn't gotten it in a long time. I remember the last one I remember it might be Adrian Peterson. I remember LaDainian Tomlinson got it.
Yes.
1 year NFL MVP by year. Let's see who it is. Let's see who we got. I'll show you guys on the screen. Let's see what we got here. In 1938, it was Mel Hine. Everybody.
Oh, Mel.
Good old Mel Hine. Let's go back. Where are we? So Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Aaron Rodgers. There it is. Adrian Peterson in 2012 we haven't seen a non-quarterback win the MVP since 2012. So 12 years. What else we got? Yeah, there's LT in 2006.
Yeah.
Sean Alexander. So it used to be a little bit different. You know, you can see Marshall Faulk, Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, and Brett Favre shared it. Emmitt Smith, but Thurman Thomas. But we haven't seen that since the NFL kind of changed its whole deal and went pass heavy,
Yeah.
The devaluing of running backs as we've seen over the last bunch of years. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. I think Saquon, dude, he was lights out this year. And you could make an argument that team, he's the most valuable player to a team that had success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dude, remember the jumping backwards over a play? What is that? What is that?
Such a really dynamic offense that they put once Saquon was back there, right? Just completely different. Jalen Hurts might not be the best pure, pocket quarterback in the league, but he can run that offense. And with those dogs they have up front, just look at what Mekhi Becton did. Well,
imagine this, Tom. Look, it hurts to see Becton. He had a hard time with this staff. Now, with the injuries and everybody, remember, he said he disagreed with the coaches and trainers to putting him to right tackle with his knee, and they didn't seem to give two shits. But I think it was pretty clear Robert Saleh didn't have any love for that 2020 draft class when he came here. It was right from the rip. And
Correct.
Becton was a part of that. So seeing him go to the Eagles and have the success that he's having is painful, but it is a drop in the bucket of pain to what Giants fans must feel with Saquon. I mean, Saquon, it's another tier. They must be, every game holding razor blades to their wrists, somebody distract me, ring telephone, that kind of a thing. But it has to be painful for Giant fans, man. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. You see him and you see him justifying it and swallowing their own tears, this and that. But it's got to be rough. It sure is rough.
Yeah. What are you saying, Tony? I said paragraphs. You talking about my my DMs? I know people write fucking, what did I say? Why is he making fun of me tonight? Tony's up my ass all night. What do you think it is?
I don't know.
Tony,
I see a lot of people in the chat. This is an interesting topic we can talk about since we're kind of geared towards the draft a little bit for the rest of this show. Where do you fall, GreenBean, on the future of Breece Hall?
It's an interesting question, man. It really is. And I'm going to real quick end the poll before I answer it. I forgot about the poll. So how's everybody feeling about the front office these days? Let's see how everybody feels. So we got, how are you feeling about the front office? Looks like a decent improvement, 51%. That takes the cake. 35% are psyched up. 8% feel like, whatever. Rookie GM again. And 4% hate it. Terrible. We're doomed. That's pretty, you know what? I'm surprised. I thought there would be a little bit more side. Maybe not. 35% is pretty good. That's it. I'd say that's positive.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Thanks for answering the poll. Yeah, you are, Tony, you bastard. So at Breece Hall, it's interesting because, he had the injury, his rookie year. So there's that, but you look at it from an objective point of view. He's yet to break 1,000 yards, which is not that difficult
in 17
games. Yeah. Right. It's not that hard. I mean, clearly it is, but the thing is that there's a lot of other variables at play. Like, for example, last year, Michael Carter for the first half of the season was our designated third down back. Every third down, Michael Carter was in there. And for a large chunk of the season, they force-fed Dalvin Cook into the mix. So it was like he split. So we saw him explode at the end of the year after they traded Michael Carter and just ended the Dalvin Cook bullshit. You know what I mean? They were like, all right, well, and then Hackett came out and said, well, we were surprised in the Giants game, which was after the bye. We figured out that Breece Hall could actually be a pretty effective pass catcher. Amazing. Now, Breece Hall's value, though, too, is it's not all just handing him the ball. He's exceptional in the passing game. I mean, you get that guy in space, and he makes a lot of things happen. So I happen to love Breece Hall. Now, people are talking about trading him. I think you got to, if you're trading Breece Hall, you're selling low. And I don't like that because I think he's got the potential to be like, and a real workhorse bell cow, 2,000 all-purpose yard guy. So I don't want to just get rid of that. I happen to love him. I don't think they trade him.
So
I don't want them to trade him.
No, and I think that's two different sides.
Well, let me just finish. But the last thing I'll say is I'm not sure yet, though. Is he a big contract guy? So at the end of this year, I think this year is going to be telling with the new offense. What is he going to do in this offense? Because I also don't think you should create a hole. We have enough holes. You don't want to create a hole and have to use a pick or something to fill it. I don't like that idea. So I don't want to trade him, but I'm not convinced that he's an extend because he's going to want money. So I just don't know where I stand with that yet. But I do sit firmly, and I'm a Breece Hall guy.
Yeah, I mean, Breece is one of my favorite Jets. He's for me. I love Breece Hall. Just 24. Yes, he's a year removed from that knee injury now, so hopefully, that's a thing of the past. But I also believe that, like, if the plan is not to extend him, then you got to see what kind of value you get for him, right? He's such a hard one. I will say, out of the four, the big four of that 2022 draft class, he's the one that I could see being moved. I think they're going to do everything in their. I think they will extend Sauce. I think they're going to do everything in their power to extend Garrett, and I think Jermaine is going to, come back this year and probably earn at least the 5th-year option. There's plenty of cap space in the future, so you can keep all four of them if you want. But I just wonder if, and I don't know, Muji's take on it. You get Engstrom, who came from Detroit. If he has a lot of, touch points in that Detroit offense, Breece Hall could fit that Jamar Gibbs, where they get him in space and he's effective, as a pass catcher, which he does very well. I could see him being a focal point. The Jets haven't given him kind of 3-down back workhorse type carries. So I don't know if he's going to be, I don't know. I don't know if he can handle 25, 30 touches a game, and grind out stuff. That just might not be his game. So I think the new offense is going to be indicative to what happens with Breece Hall. I wouldn't be shocked if, there's a draft day trade where it comes and you ship Breece Hall off and you net another 3rd-round pick or something like that. It wouldn't shock me. I don't know if it's the way I would go. But like you, I'm also not sure if I'm going to, extend him for, $8, $10, $12 million a year going forward.
Right. That's where the rub is. But like you said, like if you give them that year and you got Braylon Allen and you got Isaiah Davis, and you can have packages and you can short yardage the thing, and and you can use those guys. But there's nothing wrong with having 2 young running backs in your stable that are used sparingly. Like they play special teams and, like I said, short yardage in certain packages. And use Breece Hall. I mean, look, last year he had 876 yards on the ground, 4.2 yard average. Not terrible. But he also added 57 receptions for 483 yards.
Yeah.
And 3 touchdowns. So he had 1,350 all-purpose yards. Again, we're not talking about, earth-shattering stuff here. But there's a lot of factors that go into this stuff. So, I don't know. I thought Breece looked off for the first quarter, maybe a little bit longer of the year. He looked slow.
Yeah, he's coming off an injury. It's not like that uncommon. So, and there's the avenue that let's see, the offensive player. Joe Burrow, comeback player of the year. Saquon Barkley was the offensive player of the year. But there are people who sign up to the idea that, hey, just run the freaking rails right off of Breece Hall this year and let him walk. Let him get a big contract elsewhere and work the comp pick avenue for him. You might be able to get yourself a 3rd or 4th.
Right. Well, it's like Peter's saying, though. He never gets 20 yards, 20 carries a game. I mean, how can you know what I mean? Now, look, maybe there's reasons for that. Like when you're playing from behind, it's hard to focus on the run game. He kind of gets hosed, in that respect. So there's a lot of variables, but I don't think you can deny he's crazy talented. I mean, and there's a lot, like I see a comment in here, Oregon Jet, and he's right. Potential is worth 10 cents a pound. It's one of the things I talk about all the time in business, perceived value. It's like, hey, look, bringing it back to what's tangible. Like, look, it's not, I'm a pontificator. I love to live in the hypothetical. It's sexy to me. It's fun. What would you do if you won the lottery? I do love that shit. I'm a big old fucking hypothetical sub sandwich. I can do that all day, but when things are important, like perceived value, potential, you can't hang your hat on that shit. Like, that's late round pick value. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
But there's also results, and when you look at a guy who's, let's see, he had 5.8 yard average his rookie year. He had a 4.5 yard average in 23, and then a 4.2 yard average last year. Again, and he had 1,600 all-purpose yards in 23. It's not like it's only potential. It's potential because it's actually founded potential, right? So the potential piece comes in because we really haven't used him as a bell cow back. He hasn't been a guy, and running backs, like there's an old adage, it takes them half the game to get going. They got to feel how this defensive line is responding, and how really be able to read the blocks and know how to hit the holes. Like, it takes time to get into the flow of a game. And when you're getting, 12 carries, it's hard to do that. So I don't know. I think I like the way you just said it, Dom. Run the balls off them, just run them till the wheels come off, and you see what happens. And if he's 1,500 yards on the ground and 500 in the air kind of guy, then you have a decision to make. You know what I mean? If not, if you do that, and by week 10, we're looking at a guy who's clearly not, then you know what I mean? You could know. I get the idea with getting a third round pick if you're feeling like you're not gonna. I get that too. But again, I don't want to see us create a hole that needs to be filled when we need two safeties, a linebacker, a cornerback, a right tackle, a myriad receivers, because really what we're looking at, if Devontae leaves, Dom, we got a hot wide receiver crew of Garrett Wilson, Xavier Gibson, Malachi Corley, who is it? I mean, look, I still believe in him, but nothing. That's 100% potential if we're talking about it, like Oregon Jets pointing out.
Yeah.
And Irv Charles, who's a free agent and is coming off a pretty serious injury, and is not really he's a special teams guy. Let's call him what he is. Who else we got? There's nobody here. Lazard, he's getting cut. If he's not cut, it would blow my mind. Yeah. I would be genuinely surprised.
Taylor, I mean, is he even worth
who, Malik?
Yeah, Malik Taylor.
I guess so. Yeah, he had the injury early.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's around, but like, you have work to do, everybody. Again, tight ends, we got one. So we need tight end, wide receivers, right tackle, linebackers,
interior line,
and a cornerback.
Interior
defensive line, interior. Dude, we got holes galore, baby.
Yeah.
Why would you trade a guy that is good and create a hole?
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
Fair, very fair point. Very fair point.
Thank you, Dom.
You're welcome. You made sense.
Bulldog says, burn the offensive playbook. Well, hopefully they just bring it with them. You don't need to start a fire, Bulldog. Just bring that one with you when you go. Bring it on with you. Just pack up. Here's a empty Xerox paper box. Put all your tchotchkes and your playbook in there, and we'll see you later. So they decided to keep Sean Jefferson. I believe he's the only guy that's been retained. Now, we don't have our full coaching staff yet. We know who our offensive line coach is. We obviously know who the big three are. We know Steve Wilkes is our defensive coordinator. Engstrand is our offensive coordinator. What the hell's in there? I can't remember his name. Dodi. What the hell's his name? Our special teams. What's
Chris Banjo.
Banjo. That's okay. That's going to be easy to remember. Banjo. Okay. And so we
Was
have.
a Mike Westhoff disciple. So
That's what I like. Right.
Yeah.
Get rid of Boyer. Bring in a Westhoff disciple. He's young, fresh. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Because look, let's be real. Boyer, good, but he had to be making a case for Xavier Gibson, who's done nothing for 2 years, essentially. He's had a couple. I mean, he's had a couple moments. Really, the biggest moment of his entire career was his first game, Monday night against Buffalo, the Aaron Rodgers injury game. And he's really done very little since. He's fumbled more than he's had big plays. So, why is he so penciled in that I can't see Malachi Corley on my offense? Why? Especially when they traded up to get him.
Yep.
Why, Dom? So that's Boyer, right? It's got to be.
Pick up the phone with San Francisco. Boyer, come get your boy. Come get your boy Gibson.
We got all your guys. I hope they don't steal Yeboah. That's what I want. I'm hoping Yeboah gets signed. I don't know. I think it's got a tough chance. But you know what I'd love? Because look, let's be real. Middleton too. I mean, we all like him because of his, hit it, that whole thing. And he won the game that he stepped in for the COVID game for Robert Saleh. And that's great. It's great. But what has he really done? Have you seen any development from our tight ends? Have you seen anything from Ron Middleton?
Nope.
No. And I went through his whole career. He's only been on 2 winning teams. He started in 2004. He's been a coach for 2 teams that had a winning record. 2. He's a steady 5-win team, 4 wins, 7 wins. That's where he lives. So, you don't see him getting picked up by the Ravens. You know what I mean? And right now he's available. So, I don't know. I think you give a Kenny Yeboah to a real tight end coach, a real offensive coordinator, because the guy blocks very well and he's got great hands. Why can't we use this guy?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it to you all night, guys. I know I've said my piece, but he is a free agent and it applies. I promise. I'm not just going off on a thing. So I wanted to show you guys something. It's a little bit off kilter too. Let me see here. Last week, you guys know my son is a diehard Jets fan. We call him Teen Bean around here. I tried to make him a Ravens fan. I really tried buying him Ravens onesies and T-shirts and all that. I wanted him to be. My wife is a Ravens fan. I wanted my son to live a better life. I really did, but he didn't. He wanted to be like dad. He kind of was 3 years old, like during the 2010 Jets, and it was all exciting and all that kind of shit. But he played his first gig, Dom, up in Maryland.
How was it?
On Saturday night. And I was fucking so nervous. So he played his first gig as a metal drummer, and the place was packed. He was opening for this relatively popular band. It was at a skate shop. There's like a half pipe in the store and everybody's skateboarding around. It was crazy, but it got packed. It was like, it was a smallest place, like 120 people in there. It was packed. And I was so nervous, and the kid knocked it out of the park to the degree that this band, he was just filling in, and they asked him to be his permanent drummer, which is really cool. So I wanted to show you guys just a short clip. I'll show you just a clip. I want you to see what this, he blew my doors off. Not only with like his drum playing, right? But let me make sure. Yeah. But his energy behind the set, Dom. So let me make this. Can I make this full screen? I think that's it. Here we go. So I want you guys to watch this. So I'll just play 30 seconds. I'm going to show you this. So watch him, Dom. Can you hear that?
Very barely.
Can you hear it?
Very, very light. Very light. I can hear it.
All right. Let me see. So there he is.
Is that the guy, the lead singer from Remember the Titans?
Maybe. So let me show you. I'll get you to a point. I just want you to see him start this. So I'm not going to drag everybody through this madness.
What is that bassist? Does he have a mask on?
It's a guitar player. He's got a mask on. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like their gig. Wait, where is it? Here we go. So watch. I want you to see he did this shit all night. He's like, I was blown away. I had no idea. He's like a front man from behind the drums. Watch. Watch him, Dom. He's all fucking weird. Look at him. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys. I'm proud of him.
He should be. That's awesome.
Isn't that cool? From behind, he was doing that all night. He was standing up. Come on! It's like I was like, who is this? Who is this guy?
I'll never understand that metal stuff, though, man. Oof. That's
yeah, it's tough. Because look, I'm metal, right? And I can't deal. You know what I mean? Like with the, I just don't. He's actually his main thing is he's a singer. He's a singer in another metal band around here. And I'm telling you, he's legit. I'm like, I listen to him like, how do you make it? But anyway, I wanted to show you guys. Hoping you guys don't weren't too bothered by them. I just wanted to show you him. Meatloaf on vocals. I know. Big dude. You know what's funny about this band? There's no lyrics. He's just re. That's what I heard. That's all it sounded like. Not every band's like that, but that's like their fun little shtick. There's no lyrics.
That's great.
Blaze loves it. Yeah, right? Isn't that cool, Joe? Joe Like a Boss music. Oh, yeah, here you go. Joe Like a Boss music. That was cool, right? I know, because look, I've been in bands my whole life. I've been on stage hundreds of times, and it's like the drummers don't do that shit. You know what I mean? Not, there are a few, but didn't know he had it in him. And I told him too. I said, dude, there were so many like cute young girls around. Like, I mean, so many. I texted my wife. I said, your son's getting laid tonight, by the way. She's like, do you approve? I'm like, fucking doesn't matter if I do or not.
Yeah.
But he's so like, he's so nice, such a nice kid. He like gets off the stage and he's very different. He's like very, mellow and subdued. And anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. What else we got? Let's get into some comments. Right. Yeah, Blade, totally, man. So anyway, thanks for watching that with me, guys. I just wanted to show you. He has a 400 body count. I know. He should. He should. And he's a good-looking kid. He is. So, I mean, he's going to parlay that into a whole bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah.
I just hope it doesn't go the dangerous route. You know what I mean? I'm on him, though, Dom. I've been educating my kid about the dangers of drugs. Like, they knew about the dangerous side years before it came presented as something positive. So I did my best. Jay, Hamza, honestly, I haven't looked, buddy. I haven't even gotten into my personal email in a few days. I'll look tonight. All right, let's see what these guys. Did I say that? I didn't say that. Did I say that, Tom?
I think you said they're great.
Yeah, I would never say. I mean, not never, but it's not a thing I say. You gay wad. Remember that when we were like in elementary, gay wad? No, it's not something I say, Jeremy. I don't know. Yeah, the Bears owner died. Look, 102 years old. I think, we should all be so lucky. And as a billionaire, not a bad stretch.
Not a bad life. Not a bad life.
Like
you make it to 100, you make it to 100 too. Like that's, you outkick the coverage there.
That's right. People around you and even in your love circle, they're like, you can go.
Yeah.
You're good.
My wife's grandfather just passed away. Last weekend, as a matter of fact. He was 97. And, up until, maybe about a month before, he passed, he was as lucid as a guy as ever. Like, had his wits behind him. This, that, and the other thing. And he would start talking. He's like, you know what? He's like, ain't no one else around. He's like, everyone that I came here with, or I don't know, they're all dead. It's like It's just me.
Just me.
Yeah.
And you guys.
Yeah.
Your music sucks. Your opinions are dog shit. I hate it here. Everything's moving so fast. What happened to the good old days when we got on a horse? Fucking rode around. Think about a lifespan of 102 years. So you're 2025. So you were born in 1923. So that he would live through the Depression. You know what I mean? Like World War I, World War II, Vietnam, like just everything. Korea.
Crazy.
All that stuff. It's like, there was in 1923, I guess there were cars. You're right. There were definitely cars, but there was still horse and buggy around. Because think about it. World War I was the last war that cavalry, like horse cavalry, was still a thing. Like that was the end. Like once they started making tanks, it's like, what are horses doing to that? Like that was the end. But in 14? They were still getting 500 people on horses and running towards the enemy. You know what I mean? So you think about that. And he was alive for that shit. So you got like cars, obviously phones. When did electric light get invented?
Yeah. TVs came about, all that shit.
Let me see. When did we start? When was like electricity? What year? I'd say 1800, right? Was electric light invented? Let's see. 1809. All right, so that was around electric light, but that's quite a life, man. What's his name? Leon Hess, our former owner, made it to 89. Was it 85? Let me see. Leon Hess. How old was he when he died? 85. So he died in 1999. That's when Woody stepped in. 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, he was look, you love the guy, right? But he was terrible. He was a terrible jet owner. Terrible.
I mean,
didn't know.
Is Woody much better?
Honestly, yeah.
Well, I will say this about Woody. He spends money. You know what I mean?
Spends money. And he did fire Saleh. This is the first time he did it. He fired Saleh mid-season this year, early. But generally speaking, he gave Rex 6 years. He gave McCagnon 5 drafts. These are guys that, Rex was failing for years. Gave him 4 years, 2 GMs, 3 offensive coordinators, But it's like Tannenbaum was here a long time. He gave McCagnon 5 drafts. He gave you Bowles 4 years. Robert Saleh in the middle of his 4th year. Joe Douglas 6 years. So he's not like, there are impetuous, like impulsive owners. You look at the Jags. I mean, they're firing coaches after 2 years all the time.
Yeah.
So, he might not be. Look, we know he meddles, but Joe Douglas said for, the first bunch of years, Woody's not, there's no mandates. There's no, attachments to the money. Like I have my money. We run he said that. He could be lying, of course, but, I get the impression that he's a decent owner. Like he definitely, he lets his GM spend stupid money on big mistakes all the time. Tremaine Johnson, he paid CJ Mosley, as great of a player as he is. He gave him $5 million more per year than the highest paid linebacker. Not $1 million. He didn't just get him to the highest. $5 million a year more. And that was when it was $12 million. So he gave him $17 million a year.
Yep.
That's like almost a 50%. That's like 40% increase. And he let McCagnon do that. So I don't know, man. All right. He's like,
that's
annoying.
the old jet tax, man. I have a feeling we're gonna feel that over the next couple years until hopefully this regime kind of kickstarts it back in the right direction.
It all depends if Aaron Glenn is as attractive as, he is with like former Jet players. And there's a definite positive influx of comments and everything about him as a man. Like he might pull some decent players from Detroit, particularly defensive. You know what I mean? Like that can be a thing, who knows? I mean, Robert Saleh had that allure for a little bit, everybody wants to play for him, but I think, look, this is my take on Robert Saleh. I think that he is genuinely liked, and I think he's very good at what he does defensively. But I think that the lack of accountability and the whole, honestly, I think the get back thing is fucking ridiculous. And I think most people see through, yes, this is a great motivational story, bro. We have not won a game in 7 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, can we stop? Like, you start to see through that. It's a front. Like if you're talking about all this stuff and he's penalized and letting up sacks every single week, and he's still starting and he's still on the field. The rest of the team hates, dude. They see that. They hate it. All they want is to win, and they want accountability. Like if I'm working my ass off, like a Garrett Wilson, for example, never takes a play off. He's 100 miles an hour every single play. And when there are the same names getting called up, for penalties or whatever it might be, and there's nothing done about it, you can tell me all the fucking great stories you want.
Yeah.
About ancient Egypt and the great general or whatever the hell the story is that you have. It doesn't matter, dude, because when we get on the field, you don't talk. You say nothing to anybody the whole damn game. Then when we score a touchdown, you got to hire somebody to fucking pull on your belt loops. Like, this is dumb, So I could say, I think that it's like I think he's genuinely liked. Don't get me wrong. But I think that whole everybody wants to play for Saleh, I don't think that's real.
I'll say this. I think Saleh to a fault. I think he was a good guy, and he definitely took a lot of bullets for his team. Like, he would never, no matter how bad something was, he would never come up and, like in the press conference, like after a while. In the beginning, you kind of respected it. Like, it was like you could tell he was player first and friendly, and he was going to protect his kids. And then after a while, like, that wore real thin. Like, like, I don't want to hear, like, and Ulbrich was just an extension of it. How many times, the Cardinals game this year, we just got fucking dog walked, and Ulbrich's like, yeah, we're going to get it right. We're going to fix it.
Not who we are.
Yeah, not who we are. We're going to fix it. Like, no. Like, come up and say, I would have respected Saleh more if he said, you know what? I'm going to leave this podium. I'm going to go in the locker room and I'm going to chew some fucking ass out, chew some guy's ass out and let him know this is not, not acceptable any longer. And then prove that, I would have respected that a little bit more than, hey, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but
we're going to get it right. What am I going to do?
They're working harder than you give them credit for.
Yeah. Right. And he's like, what am I going to do? Make them do push-ups?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, you're way off. Yeah, you're way off. No, these are competitive guys. Sit them on the bench and let them think.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
And I think Saleh will be a head coach again, and I think he might, and I think he'll be a fine head coach. Like, sometimes you need to work out the kinks, and you need to get fired before you figure it out. I mean, look, Pete Carroll, right? Pete Carroll had 2 jobs. Bill Belichick had a head coaching job in Cleveland before he figured it out.
Right. And he really didn't even figure it out. He had Tom Brady. I mean, he was 4-12 the year before with Drew Bledsoe, who was considered a very, very good quarterback. He was the first $100 million quarterback in the NFL. Mm-hmm. He was a fucking franchise quarterback every day of the week. Got them to the Super Bowl with Parcells a couple of years, a handful of years earlier. If it wasn't for Tom Brady, I don't think Bill Belichick makes it very long. Honestly, I mean, he was.
Was Drew Bledsoe the first $100 million quarterback?
Yes.
Oh, Josh Allen got MVP.
Wow.
Is that right? Let's see.
I thought it should have been Lamar.
Oh, maybe I'm not wrong. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. I don't know. Somebody's watching it. Let us know.
Yeah, right. Hennessy goes, I can see Aaron Glenn saying, you're not built for this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it, man. I mean, dude, it's got you set the tone from the first day. And you let them know, like, if you're carrying your weight, I got your back. If you're not, you get my ire. That's what you get. I am not going to fucking deal with half-ass and lackluster performance and effort. And you would see it. Dude, how many times in the last 4 years when we come out and it's like we're dead, we wait till the second half, we come out, it's a different team. Like, what is that? The slow start thing. They come out, they look tired and slow. It's crazy. And it was a very consistent thing. That's 100% coaching.
Yeah.
100%.
And man, I know they tried to switch the offense up and this, that, and the other thing. You went from LaFleur to Hackett and this and that. But like at some point, hopefully for Saleh's sake, I mean, he's not our coach anymore. Fuck him. But hopefully for Saleh's sake, like he figures that shit out and he brings in somebody that can just handle that, he can handle that and he can do all the rest of the shit.
Yeah. No, I think that's why that was my whole logic behind, hiring a coach who's been a head coach.
Yeah.
Somebody who's made their mistakes somewhere else. Because let me tell you, they're going to think about it. Like when absence, when you get some space between you and a mistake, like when you're in it, it's very hard to see things clearly. When you remove yourself and you put some time between you and that, you learn a lot. If you're looking at, and he seems like a humble guy. Yeah. So being able to look at things, I think, he's the exact type of guy. Give him 2 years as a defensive coordinator. Go get back to your comfort zone. Think about what you did, what you learned, and all that kind of shit. Get another swing. I think he'll do better. But again, that's the whole hire and rookie head coach thing. It's like, it's tough here.
Yeah.
It's tough here.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Bowles, even Bowles. I thought Bowles was an ass clown when he was a head coach here, right?
I still think he sucks.
Do you?
Yeah, he's winning the fucking weakest division in the NFL. If he was in any other division, he wouldn't be getting into the playoffs every year.
Still winning.
Yeah, still winning. No, I get it. I still think, he's never going to do anything for them. They'll fire him. Dude, he got handed literally a Super Bowl team.
Yeah. Yeah.
First thing he did was fucking fire the whole offensive staff. Firing Leftwich and everybody. But yeah, look, he was handed a Super Bowl team with Tom Brady and didn't make it to the Super Bowl. And then he's been, he's kind of kicking around, 9 wins. Again, still better. It's better than what we've seen. So, you can't complain, but at the same time, and they're in the playoffs, but they get beat in the playoffs. They're not, that when they get in, they're not the team. You know what I mean? So anyway, with that all said, Dom, we're kind of at the end of the show here, buddy. How'd it go for you? Was it good for you?
It's always good for me, my friend.
All right.
Always good for me.
Yeah, me too. I'm not seeing a whole bunch of milk thumbs, everybody. Give me the milk thumbs before you go. Squeeze that like button. Mm-hmm. Give it the old squeeze-a-rooney. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And don't forget about Dom's channel. The link is right in the description, as is his Twitter page. Dom's very, very active on Twitter, all the interviews and clips, and he's coming at it from a very intellectual angle, everybody. Interesting stuff Dom's posting. If you're not following him on Twitter, you totally should be. So all the links are in the description of the video in the follow the crew section. Mm-hmm. And don't forget about the great offer from BetUS. 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 just by using the promo code YouTube 150, everybody. With that all said, that's going to be the end of our show. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we will see. Well, where is it? Damn it. We will see you next time, everybody.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck to the over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.